Hello, everybody. I am Monica Anderson, and you are listening to the Quantum Living New Earth podcast on February 10th, 2025. Again, I'm starting out. It's been a couple of weeks since I had a podcast because I have been busy. Not busy, but I've been in my silent 0 point mind and really making sure that I am centered and clear and have my compass where it needs to go so I know what to do. So, in these 2 weeks, though, it has been crazy in terms of the people around me. My private community has totally changed. Everything has totally changed. How about you guys? Has things changed for you in these last weeks? Things have become clearer. Things have become maybe upsetting. But if you look at it, you can see that it needed to go and it needed to be the way it needed to be. But what I want to talk about today is something that I always kind of mention, but it is really the secret to understanding how all of this works and figuring out who you are and what you're supposed to be doing. So, what we want to do is we want to get to what I call the 0 point mind or the silent mind, to be able to be silent. What happens when you're silent? Most people say, well, I don't meditate because all of these thoughts race through my mind and all of this stuff goes through my mind and I just can't meditate. Well, all of that is electrical impulses. Those are human thoughts that are put into you through the culture that you live in, through the media, through sports, through religion, through whatever. It's not coming from in within you, because within you is your divine spark. So we're all a piece of the divine. We're all a piece of source, a fractal piece, a very beautiful fractal that is made up of all these different frequencies that create this unique, beautiful spirit. And what's happening right now is that we're living in a world where your spirit has been covered. Your light has been covered. And from the moment you were born, you were taught that you need to look outside of yourself in order to figure out why you're here, what you're doing. That question of who am I? What is the point of my life? That will eat you alive when you start drilling down and realize that there's really nothing. I always say that, people who are around me and in my group, they always hear me say, that's fake. That's fake. It's not true. It's not true. People get a little bit annoyed because it's like, it is true because they're living it and I'm living it. But what it is it's this tightrope that we're walking between the perceived reality and the reality that when you connect with the divine, that space that you connect with the divine and you have that relationship and you just want that all the time. What if I told you that you could have that all the time? What if I told you that that was the goal? What if I told you that the whole world is going towards that? What if I told you that every single thing that is upsetting you right now, that has caused division and dissension in your life, is going away, has gone away? I mean, it's only in your realm, it's only in you if you're seeing it inside of you. You're only seeing it outside of you if it's inside of you. So that's a really great thing. Instead of getting upset that this and this and this are happening in your life and then finding somebody to blame, you say, wow, this is going on in my life. What is this reflecting within me that I need to let go? That's the big thing, is surrendering to the divine source within you, not striving for anything, you know. I was talking to somebody about my business and trying to talk to them about it in a spiritual way, because I'm always looking for ways to connect my spirit with yours to get this information out. And I've created a store with health items in it and all of my coaching information and everything. And I do TikTok videos and I do this podcast. And then I upload also on YouTube and I talk on X. But my point isn't to have a business where I'm trying to get money from people, to survive. But at the same time, I'm living in a world where I'm told that the way you do this, the way you do your podcast, the way you do your TikToks or whatever is like this. And that's how you get the word out. But none of it was real, because I am actually speaking from my heart space and from the divine's knowings that are within me. I'm doing this podcast today based on what spirit is leading me to talk about, not a pre planned calendar with topics and a whole script that's out. It's like when I listen to a podcast now or I listen to a YouTube video, if the person is not speaking from their heart, and I immediately can tell, I won't listen to them anymore. I have a hard time listening to even voicemails and messages from people that I get when they're not speaking from their heart, when they're speaking from their left brain. All of us are going into a more creative, imaginative life that is derived from the right brain, the right side of your brain. You can also call it the feminine side of your brain. It doesn't mean you're going to become feminine, okay? If you're a male, but that's a whole nother subject. But what this means is we are all becoming more balanced. So we've been way off balance, being in the left brain, making all of the decisions, on our business, on our family, on our education. Everything was determined by our education and what degrees we had and all that. Just like with me, I have people that were close to me, let's say 20 years ago or 10 years ago. 10, 20 years ago, those people are basically asking me, who do I think I am? How can you come out here and say this? Like, what degrees do you have? I guess, what certificates do I have? Who tapped me on the shoulder and said, go tell the world your story and tell them the way it's working? Well, I'm telling you this from literally doing it, actually living it. And I made a decision a decade ago, but really 5 years ago is when I started working on it, is to get out of the matrix. And that has been quite the journey because I have people watching me that are like, you can't do that. You have to do this. You have to live like this. You have to live like that. You have to do your podcast like this. You need to interview people before you have your own podcast. You need to do this, you need to do that. And I'm not doing anything the way other people do it, and neither are you. We're all creating a new way based on what source divine is giving us to do. So obviously not everybody's going to have a podcast or a YouTube channel. And then most people that are listening to this, you don't. How do you apply this in your own life? How do you do that? How can you get yourself silent? How can you get yourself silent? You must do this. You must do this in order to ascend with grace and ease. Okay. And we are going through a ascension. We're always going through it, but it's being ratcheted up. The frequencies of the planet, the frequencies that are coming out of the grand central sun, they are not going to let you rest. You're going to keep on having things brought to your attention, brought to your attention, brought to your attention, brought to your attention until you finally surrender. You're going to have situations happen to you, like you're going to get sick. You're going to have people, leave you. Maybe it just depends, it depends. But all of that is in divine order. That's where the trust and the faith comes in. If you know that if you're following what the divine is telling you, then you know that it's going to work out and that it is right and it is in flow. Even if it doesn't make sense, the key to all this is the secret. The secret to everything is to live in the now moment. And what does that mean? Live in the now moment. Living in the now moment means doing what spirit is leading you to do. If you don't know what that is because you are listening to prophets, you are going on YouTube and listening to marketing experts, you're trying to build a calendar, a schedule, all these kind of things to try to get organized and clear. Those are all things that happen when you take inspired action, when source reveals that to you. But right now, if you're not at that point where you're in silent mind, right now, don't do anything. Don't do anything. You only do what feels right to you, whatever your soul's cry is. But when you're first starting this, and it doesn't matter what it is, like whatever your life is, it can be any life. You're living one way. Now we're being presented with a situation because the world goes through these cycles. But we're presented with a situation that is causing us to need to drastically change the way we've been living. So everything is getting taken away that you knew. Okay, with the Elon Musk and the Trumps and all that, they are dismantling in front of your eyes everything that you held near and dear. I mean, I still see people, which it's actually the majority of people. I just realize I'm living in a bubble a little bit. But there's people on X that are asking, how do you expect us to pay taxes when all this fraud's being exposed? And it's like, don't pay the taxes. You don't need permission to not pay taxes that are fraud and they go against you. And so you know that by not paying them, you are operating in the highest light. And so you're going to come out ahead. But it takes a lot of guts to go against the cultural grain. People don't want to go against the grain. What will my friends think? What will my family think? And so everybody's trying to just, everything that your life is based on what other people think. The quality of your life and what you have in your life, the way you dress, the way you look, the food you eat, the way your house is all based on other people's thoughts and what other people think. And then when we buy into what other people think, but it doesn't go along with our spirit, because our spirit right now really is saying, I'm done taking a back seat. We are going to live in a way that's in alignment, not in this way that goes against the soul. So all these things are happening. All these things are happening. So let's take your kids going to school. If your kids are in school, whether it's private school or public school. Now, I have had experience with all types of schools for kids. I have homeschooled. I have two children. I have four children, three biological children, and a stepdaughter. Two children that are 28 and 25, and I have a 6-year-old that I had in 2018 that I delivered naturally, and she is raised completely out of the system, and we homeschool her. And we're teaching her to read and write right now, and she is going to a forest school twice a week. Sometimes I have this little voice that's like, oh my gosh, should I put her in school? Because I just have the culture here where I live, they put so much emphasis on this. But because I have the mindset and the control to know that, why would I put my daughter in a place where they're going to indoctrinate her? Look at what has come out of the kids that have gone to public school. And I can look at my own kids, my adult kids that are 25 and 28. I homeschooled them for just a few years in elementary school. And my oldest daughter, she went to private school and homeschooled during her elementary years. And then they went to public school. Like, I don't remember. They went to public school sometime after all of that. And I see what's happened. Like, all these kids that have been in public school for the last 20 years or dealing with these changes, or let's talk about kids that are people, not even kids, that are in the psychiatric, going to see a psychiatrist, and they're putting these kids on medication. And that's changing their brain chemistry, which is nuts when you consider that these kids are just now developing their brain. So you're going to go put in chemicals and totally change the way that child thinks. So that happened, and that's happening to my 14-year-old stepdaughter. And South Carolina, they were part of it. The courts were part of it. And I knew, and I've known for years, but I knew not to engage with the courts. I knew that the situation was not about the betterment of the child. It was about getting money. Which brings us to the main thing that this is all about. That everybody who doesn't know who they are, who is not on this spiritual journey, the reason why is because you've been programmed to live. You've been programmed to live so that you are just collecting your shekels, your money, so that you can go pay your taxes, which is theft. You can go pay your mortgage, which is wrong. A mortgage means death pledge. Okay, you're paying for electricity, which we should never be paying for electricity. That's all getting ready to change, everybody. Money is not going to be an issue. And if you're on your spiritual path, you naturally get to that point where you don't talk about money, you don't think about money, because abundance is the condition of your life. And you know that. That's a motto in our group. Abundance is the condition of my life. And it is. And I operate out of abundance. There is never lack. I don't need to gatekeep information. I don't need to withhold information, and that's like what they teach you to do, to like gatekeep your information. We're all in this together. I'm all about unity consciousness, letting people know that this whole new world is here. We are at the very beginning of it, but you're seeing the changes. They're going to change all the food. They're going to change the way the schools are run, the Department of Education, and all of that are going to be completely changed and not run. They're going to be run by the people. So everybody's getting upset. The people that were living off of the government's dole, they're all getting upset. They're all getting upset and giving their sob stories as to, their families. Well, all of us that have been on this path for quite some time, we lost our jobs or quit our jobs years ago. My husband lost his job a year and a half ago, and there are no jobs right now that he would do, like as far as like the same job. Like you don't just go out and get a job. But I know, and I knew, and I told him he's going to lose his job. But the universe is moving things and clearing everything out of your way. So expect to lose anything that does not align with where you're going. But don't be upset about it, because guess what? That makes room for something better. That makes room for something better. You want to be on the path of becoming your true self, not even becoming. You know what it is? It's acknowledging who you are. It's remembering who you are. It's not becoming something. Okay? We don't use our outside appearance to determine who we are. We don't use the outside to determine who we are and how we feel about ourselves. We want to have an internal relationship with the divine, and that will move us through everything with flying colors. So, having this mindset that you need to constantly be striving, you need to constantly be looking and seeing what's happening. What did Elon say next? Elon say, what did Trump say? What did your wife say? Your husband say? Teacher say? Who said what? Tell me. What did somebody say? So I know what to do. And you're walking around, afraid to have FOMO, or you have FOMO or something, that you're going to miss out on something. You're not going to miss out on something. That's why I created my group, the Reality Shifters. It's a community group where you can go and just immerse yourself in these topics, and everybody is just working their spiritual muscle in the group. And the people who aren't, the people that are there because they think that they're going to get a bunch of money, those people end up leaving. So anybody who's in it for the money, anybody who's operating their life based on having to acquire money, get money, or whatever, they are going to be in for a difficult, difficult time because that's not how the world works anymore. I know it seems scary to take that step out and to run your business based on actually caring about people, running your family, running. Can you imagine? Imagine this. Imagine running your family out of love. Imagine doing your job, whatever your job is right now, but you do it out of love from your heart. You're not doing it out of obligation. You're not doing it out of a set of things you're supposed to do, but you're doing it out of love. It is a game changer. No one raises their family. They think that they love their family. They think that they'll say that they're doing it out of love when parents, mothers are bringing their kids to all these different sports, running them around different activities and sports, and the family is all fractured and they're eating pizza in the car or McDonald's in the car, and they're trying to, because I went through that, so I know, going from one game to another game in the same night and then rushing home, and then the dad gets home and everybody's disconnected, and we show pictures of our kids in their activities, in their sporting activities, in their dance or whatever it is. But we don't have any pictures of anyone just being, just existing, just loving their child. It's always to strive. So they're doing sports so they can get a scholarship so that they can go to college, and the parents can't pay for college. And so they want them to get a scholarship, and they want them to be in sports. And look at me, I'm in sports. Well, we found out last night the truth about sports, didn't we? The people that are awake knew, but it's all over with. The Super Bowl, it's all rigged. And all of that is over with. Everybody is going to go back to your spirit and live through your spirit. And depending on how long that takes you, it depends on how difficult it's going to be for you. People are mad at me because I'm saying this, but I am done not saying the truth. And yeah, I get criticism from some people that, they don't like it because it's shining a light on the areas that they need to work on. And the thing is with me, like, I can have a relationship with anybody now, if they're working on they're seriously working on their issues. If they're not living and working in a spiritual way, they're on a different path than me, and I don't feel obligated to run after them, talk to them, try to convince them of this, because everybody is on their own path and everybody has to figure out what they're doing and what they're meant to be here for. This is not a flip of a switch. That's the thing. It's not a flip of a switch that's going to happen. It's happening gradually as the consciousness raises. The reason why I do what I do and put the podcasts out and make TikTok videos and all of that and YouTube and all that is to get this message out. And it's buried. It's buried under all of their lies and their distortion. And so you cannot see the truth of who you are. You don't see the truth of who you are. And so you're stumbling around and you're really, really upset and stressed right now. And I'm seeing this with my coaching that people just don't, um, it's like something's itching my eye for a second. Uh, but people don't understand. So let's say that you're in a marriage that you don't want to be in. This could be a job or a marriage. Okay, whatever your situation that you're in that you don't want to be in, but you have no idea how to get out of it or where to begin. And when you start looking at the details of it, it's overwhelming and it's stressful. And if you're a mother or you're a woman that has just been at home for a long time and doesn't have access to money or doesn't feel like she can go anywhere, the thing is that you don't necessarily need to. This is the thing, is that if you go within yourself, and I know that just sounds so abstract, but you just get into the silent mode. You spend, if you can spend 2 hours in the morning being silent, that would be great. But I know that's a lot to ask. So you got to start somewhere. But if you are operating in your divine light within your marriage, that light will change your spouse. But if you're not walking in the true divine light, it will not change your spouse. So you got to be real with yourself. It's like, do you really want to stay married to this person? Do you really want to stay in this situation? Do you want to live here? Do you have the guts to bring that up to whoever it is that you're living with? It's all these things. Like if your kid is in public school and you don't want them in public school, but your spouse doesn't, but wants them, you want to homeschool them, but he won't, or something, all these things. If you just go by what your compass is saying, and it's like we're literally walking through fire. It doesn't matter what's being said on the outside of you. You are going forward with this because you know it's right. You will prevail. You will prevail. Doesn't mean that's all going to be roses and easy. It's not. Because I can tell you what, the people that are in your realm that are not awakened, I mean, if you're listening to this, then you're like spiritually kind of in this. And if people in your life don't like this way about you, they are going to leave or do something, but you know that you know that you know that you're going to be okay. I know that when you're dismantling your life, it feels like so much. And right now, you're being forced it's being dismantled for you. If you're not actively doing it, somebody's going to do it for you. And that's the biggest thing, is that you want to be in full control of this. You want your spirit you want to be grounded in your spirit. And most people are not grounded. They're not grounded. And so they don't even know what I'm talking about right now. But I'm sitting here in my situation, for the last 3 years, I've been on TikTok. The last couple months, 3 months, I've had my podcast, and I am seeing that the vision that I was given years and years and years ago, decades ago, is now I can kind of see how it's coming about. I can see that. So everybody's going to be going to a community type of way, and it's going to be smaller stores, not these big corporations and big grocery stores. I bet if you looked up the for sale, commercial sale buildings in your area, I bet you'll see lots of hospitals, in our area, we've got the family courthouses for sale. Several hospitals are for sale, medical centers. Okay, that's because it's done. They're done. And everything is getting ready to change. I am really curious to see how actually it's going to be. I mean, we're living in it. That's the whole crazy thing. We're living in the changes. The changes are happening as we speak. You're given lots of opportunities to turn away from things from the outside and turn inside yourself. Turn inside yourself in order to reveal the light. And the light is not something that you see. Okay, that fire within you, it's something that is felt and it's a knowing. Okay, and you get to that point, you get to that 0 point mind, your whole world opens up to you. So, my suggestion to everyone is stop listening to people that are telling you what's going on. Stop listening to things. Well, let's say it like this. If you want to listen to it, like I hear it and people send it to me so I can kind of keep up to date on what's going on. But I've noticed that it's getting more and more challenging for me to get information because I'm on a different dimension. I'm communing with the divine most of the time. And I know what's really going on, you know? So right now for me, I am just paying attention to you guys, to the humans, and what do they need and where are they at and what are they being told? What kind of lies are they being told? What kind of distractions are they being given? And then I'm using my podcast to let you guys be aware. Let you guys be aware. So I believe that the Super Bowl was all telling us about the different financial changes that are happening because that's the only reason why the other side that is no longer in charge, why they're upset. They're upset. They're not upset. They know that we don't die. They're upset because they've lost everything. They've lost everything. And humanity is going to go back to the way we were designed. We were not designed to be working like this. We were not designed to be doing manual labor. We were not designed to have chemicals in our food that's making us sick. You know, I'm really seeing that with my 6-year old trying to keep the chemicals out. She's not going to eat like me. I basically eat a Lumerian diet where I just do soups and juices, or I don't eat because I don't eat like an intermittent fast, basically perpetually. I don't eat for like 17, 20 hours at a time. And I know that Nat can't do that, but she's been introduced to the chemicals and some of it, like we didn't know. Um, we didn't know. And so that has affected her health. And so she's having to go through this, but I'm using my software and scanning her. But the point of bringing that up is that when you're going through these changes, when you're going through these changes, don't feel like you have to do it all at once. The biggest thing is to spend time by yourself in silence, um, or with some music on, like some 528 hertz or 741 hertz, whatever. Listen to some music, do a guided meditation if you need to at first, but just consistently making it a thing where every single day, and you know what? Make it in your shower. If you're not meditating yet or you're having a hard time, you've kind of gone back and forth, meditate in your shower. The water is magnetic and you can have there's some amazing affirmations that you can have. I actually posted in my group this incredible talk called it's called I Am the Open Door That No One Can Close, the Golden Book by Saint Germain. And it's a almost 5 hour book, audio book. But in the beginning of it is some incredible affirmations that really illuminate the divine within you. And when that happens, you get power. You get power, and it's power to see what you need to see. So it's like I'm always looking at things like a decade down the road. So, like right now, I'm looking at all the situations that are happening, knowing that this is all bringing us forward to the new earth. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the exposure. I'm excited about the revelations of it all. I'm excited that people are starting to ask questions. I myself am learning tons and tons of new things to understand who I am and why I'm here. And I live in the South. I moved here from Washington State, and I moved to this little tiny town in the South, in the belt buckle of the South. At least that's what they call it. They say about this town. So it's weirdly conservative, but not in the way that I am. So there's a big difference, you know. There are people that don't come from this religious background. I was in this religious background and I was indoctrinated into it. But I never really, really, really bought into it. Um, and so what I'm just saying is that here in the South, they don't they don't understand what's going on because they're heavily in the church, and they think that, oh, I'm going to church, I'm uh paying my dues, my offering, so I'm good. And then they sit around and judge everybody else in their area. And that's what happens at churches, right? They all do it. They all think that they're pious and they got it all figured out because they're going to church every week. But guess what? They're not really reading their Bibles. The pastor's not reading his Bible. This is all done through the mind, not through the heart space. That is the theme of the podcast: is come through your heart space, get to 0 point mind, silent mind. If you want to have all the riches in the world and all the opulence, because that is the true way. The true way, it's opulent, it's luxurious, it's amazing, and it's connected and it's united, and it's just pure love. Most people haven't experienced this pure love, because that pure love is what keeps you knowing that the person that's upset you or whatever situation, that they're just hurting themselves and that it's not personal and everybody's just figuring their stuff out. Well, everybody, I don't want to keep you too long, but I want to really drop these thoughts into your heart that it's time to clear the decks. It's time to clear your home of anything that doesn't align. And that doesn't mean people, okay? Because the people that are not aligned are not keeping you from aligning. So, all these excuses you guys are making for not meditating, not being silent, you are missing out. You are missing out. That's where the magic is. That's where the magic is. And we're going into a world where people will not be speaking anymore. Everything's going to be telepathic. It's already starting. You guys are getting some of you guys are getting that gift in. And I am loving this, but we're going to a world that is not going to be using money. We're going to be telepathic. We're going into a galactic society. So we got lots of big things coming. So right now, what we are doing, in case anybody still's like, what is this chick about? What we're doing on my end at Raw with Peace, that's the name of my company, because my goal, the reason my company is named Raw with Peace is because my goal for you is that you become raw with peace and you develop this peace that passes all understanding. And that peace dissolves all in that love frequency. It dissolves all, it dissolves all dissension. It dissolves all confusion. It dissolves all the feelings of abandonment that you may have. And you're able to release so many things. And it's a game changer. So, everybody who is listening and listening to this point, to this point of the podcast, I hope that you will take this seriously and just say, you know what? I'm done messing around. I'm done kind of poking around this. Okay. And making up excuses that, oh, that's new age. Oh, I'm not supposed to do that. Or I don't understand this. Okay. Being silent is going to benefit you. And you just want to do it consistently. And I'm telling you, magic will happen. And it can happen overnight. It can happen. You will make this connection. You will become silent. And then this thing will happen. And you will make this connection. And you will know, oh my God, that's what she's talking about. And this connection, this love, if you're operating out of this love energy, whatever it is that you're working on is going to work and be sustained. And that's how you know anybody that's on TV or whoever, whatever they're doing that you see that is not doing what they're doing out of love, that whatever that is will go away. Something will happen. They'll get sick. They will lose the job. The building will burn down. Something. Anything can happen these days, right? So something will happen. So be prepared for that and know that. But if you walk this walk, if you have the guts to walk this walk, not many people will walk this narrow path. And people argue with you too, telling you that they are walking this path. But you just know that you need to worry about you and what you're vibrating at so that your frequency is high and you will stop getting sick. Your spouse will see the difference in you and be turning towards you. You can have a reunification of your family if it's been broken up. All of this is going to happen. All of this is going to happen. So I hope one day that somebody listens to me that would not maybe normally listen to me, and they will reach out and let me know that this information touched their heart and they were able to turn away from this scourge that's on them. And it's like my heart literally breaks seeing on social media. That's how the only way I really see people now. But seeing people on social media and all that they're going through and knowing that all the answers are inside of them. It's like Dorothy with her red shoes, you know? She could have always gone home, but nobody told her that. Nobody told her that. So I'm telling you, you can go home right now. And you can get to a point where you're able to stand like a lighthouse, a strong lighthouse with the waves all around you, splashing up against you, and people railing against you and lose everything. And be okay with it. And I'm at the point where I'm okay with anybody or anything that goes away, that doesn't show up, that, you know, has something to do with the old world. And that's why they're not doing whatever with me. It's fine because The divine timing is the divine timing. And as long as I'm doing everything I know to do and I'm acting in love, I know it's all going to work out, and it has been working out. And I am living my life out in the public so the public can see. And it's interesting how it's making them be mad at me. Um, but people want to see suffering and they want to know that somebody else is suffering. I actually had a person that was in my group, and every time I told her something that was going on in my life to help her feel better about her situation, she would literally say, "Oh, I'm so glad that you're going through that. So I know that you're just like the rest of us." Um, that's just weird. But I understood that where it was coming from, right? That she just wants to feel okay. But this person never did anything, never went within and never solved their issues, you know? They're going to have to go through it. I can't walk people's walk with them. I cannot. So that's why, again, why I do the podcast, because I can just put the information out and you guys can take it as you want. And we are getting more and more people that are hearing this message of peace and love that can be theirs now. And they're uniting. We're finding each other. Listen, if you are listening to this podcast and you've been listening to me for a while, maybe on TikTok or on YouTube, and you haven't reached out, but you've wanted to, please do. Please do. Um, because I am really putting myself out there and wanting to connect with other souls, even if it's just to hold space for one another. And that's what my group is. I hold space for you guys there in my group, which you can join my group at therealityshifters.com. And it's kind of a all-encompassing group where you can, I have my shoprawwithpeace.com is my store that has all of these high level products in it that are moving the needle. And I'm always getting new stuff in. I'm actually I got a new makeup line in that I am trying right now. For those of you guys that are asking, it's called the Only Glow Tinted Face Oil. Um, so if you're seeing this, just know that I'm testing this out. And they also have a beautiful skincare line that I am looking at for you guys. So this is all to get you guys. This is all to get you guys healthy, clear those false frequencies that are telling you lies. Everything I do is to clear those frequencies. So I'm bringing in the skincare and I'm bringing in that makeup because, we need a healthy makeup. But something that I couldn't bring in, I actually had to create it myself that I want to make sure that I talk about on the podcast before we go. It is a product called Nanotech Scrub. So we have nanotech, heavy metals, technology is literally in our body and it's microscopic. So my nanotech scrub, the basis of it is actually boron. And that's why I had to design it myself. So I'm a licensed esthetician and I've been a licensed esthetician for about 12 years. And I'm a nerd, so I've like studied everything and all the ingredients and all of this stuff and put it together. So I have created this nanotech scrub, and if you've purchased the nanotech scrub and you've used it, let me know what you think. But I want to tell you guys that I have changed the kind of constitution of it, and it is now all mixed. So it's got boron, Epsom salts, magnesium, almond oil, rose oil, frankincense oil, and DMSO. It is an absolute Incredible product. We actually tried to get it manufactured, but they refused to manufacture boron. With boron, they're saying it's irritating because the propaganda around boron, they've taken it out of stuff. But I'm telling you, man or woman, I designed it into a scrub. I designed it as a scrub because men don't take baths. So if you can't get my product, or you want to just do it on your own, just get some borax, organic borax, or you can call it boron. You can get it on Amazon or wherever. You want to make sure it's organic. I mean, if you don't have organic, you still can do this. But you use organic boron. I would start with a quarter to a half a cup and put it in your bath. You can also get like a magnetic clay and put that in your bath with it. You can do apple cider vinegar with it. And I just splash all this stuff in. But with this nanotech scrub, I put together because people don't want to go out and buy all that stuff and put it together. And all of my men, they're definitely not going to. And they're like, come on, Monica. So what I want you guys to do with this nanotech scrub is when you get it, I want you to just scrub it all over your body, even inside your ears, behind your ears, your nose, everywhere, your scalp, everything. And then you just let it sit there for, a few minutes and then just rinse it off in the shower. So you can also, I've been doing this week and it's been very effective, is doing the whole scrub and then getting in your clean bath water, your structured bath water. So you get in your bath water and you soak for 15 minutes. What is so incredible about this scrub that I love so much is that it acts as basically your soap, your exfoliant, and your moisturizer, because we use this beautiful organic almond oil and it leaves this beautiful finish. There's no chemicals, there's no fillers, nothing. I actually signed up to be at the Spring Water Festival, and I'm going to bring my nanotech scrub there so I can introduce it to the community here. I'm sure they'll be a little bit like, what? But it's all these high-tech products that are coming out. I don't have my nanotech scrub sitting here to show it to you, but all these products are coming out. And I want you to check them out. And I want you to know that I am on it. So for all of you men and women, everything that I have is for both. And it's not overly girly or anything. And then I'm going to be extending the line. We're going to be getting bath bombs. So look for those. So we're going to get bath bombs that have baking soda and boron in them, but this is all to detox. This is all to awaken your DNA. And it all works. I also have in my store a really, really good product called DMSO. It's by an amazing company. I love this company. They're also carrying my castor oil. So after you use your scrub, you could get out of your shower, pour some castor oil in your hand, pour a teensy bit of DMSO, or you can get it in little bottles in my shop, and mix it all together, rub it all over your skin. And if you put a heating pad or something over your stomach, then it's a whole treatment. It's a whole detox treatment. So all of these things, I've put all of these things together for you at shoprawwithpeace.com. Please check it out. Even just to check it out and you want to get the product somewhere else, that's fine. I just want you to know that this is what it is. So we have zeolite, we have DMSO, we have the nanotech scrub, which is an absolute game changer, and you can use it for your whole family. Your whole family can use it. You will love it for your kids. And trust me, they need a detox bath or a detox scrub. But I think that the kids will love the bath bombs that we're going to be having. But anyway, you guys, so this is all that I'm doing. going to continue to create it. So I'm creating my podcast for you to give you this information. And I have lots and lots of information. So check out my other podcasts. And I've interviewed some people, and I had some other people on my other podcasts that are amazing, beautiful people that have connected with me, and they're on their journey. So definitely check that out. They're members of the Reality Shifters, and we're all growing together. So I'd love for you to check that out. Check my store out, shoprawwithpeace.com, for all of your ascension needs. And know that in the Reality Shifters at therealityshifters.com, that is where I post. I've got the whole MJ12, Majestic 12 document. It's like 650 pages. I have the PDF of that. I have the Law of One PDF. I have tons of books, tons of information's on there, plus other higher beings are on there. And once we start our funding and things like that with our humanitarian projects, then we'll be on busy. We're going to be traveling. Some of us are going to be traveling together. We've got lots of plans to bring in the new earth, and I am very, very excited about it. So let me know, you guys. Don't be shy. So say hi to me. Go over to the podcast on YouTube and comment. I think you can comment on Apple, but it would be very beneficial to me if you guys would go over to Apple if you watch it on there, and you can subscribe. And that helps support what I'm doing. And you can also go over to my YouTube and comment there things that you want me to see, because that's where I primarily am looking. I've got all these places to look, but I'm very accessible and you can find me. One little ending I will say is that I do not sell or get you guys to go into any cryptocurrencies or teach anything about anything like that. If anything about like a trust wallet, none of that. It's all a scam, but they use people like me and other people that seem legitimate to push this. So just ignore all of that. But once you start interacting with my stuff, you start getting messages sent to you by somebody that looks like they're me and they're not. So just ignore it, please. And make sure you're following me. You can always go to shoprawwithpeace.com. You can also join the Reality Shifters, and then you always know who the real me is, right? So thanks, you guys. Have a wonderful day. Stay in, get in, or stay in that heart space. Slow down. Take a look at things. Take kind of like a 30,000 foot overview on things. You don't need to be getting in arguments with people. You don't need to be being rude to people. But if you do have an outburst, or you do have something, because these electrical impulses that are running through us, that are being moved out of us, they can cause you to just like have an outburst or be really mad or cry or something. Just be in that moment and look at yourself and see, what is it? What's going on with me? Why did I get triggered like that? What was causing it? And go back to your breath work. Go back to your breath work whenever you feel out of alignment. Just breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And know that whatever you're feeling or thinking that the divine is telling you, it's going to be right and it's going to be good, and just stay in flow. Okay, you guys, see you next time. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.